So let's see what are the guidelines of SEBI for valuation of security. First thing that it talks about the thinly traded equity or equity related security. Actually, if in any case in a month the particular securities are transacted less than 5 lakh and total volume is less than 50,000, then it shall be considered as thinly traded security, right? And thereafter, suppose let's take an example, and the value of the security suppose is 4 lakh but the volume is 1 lakh, then it will not come under the thinly traded security. That means you have to know that thinly traded security can be volume 50,000, not more than, less than 5 lakh. Okay, both the conditions should follow. Now thinly traded debt security, a debt security that has trading volume of less than 50 crore. Okay, so trading volume of less than 50 crore, 15 crore for a period of 30 days prior to the valuation date shall be considered as thinly traded security. That means prior to the 30 days, that means कि 30 दिन से पहले जब आपकी ये वैल्यूएशन इसकी हो रही है, 30 दिन पहले के पीरियड से अगर वो 15 करोड़ की सिक्योरिटी है, ऐसे केस में आपका थिनली ट्रेडेड सिक्योरिटी माना जाएगा. अ डेट सिक्योरिटी अदर देन गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी, डू रिमेंबर, अदर देन गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी दैट हैज़ अ ट्रेडिंग वॉल्यूम ऑफ लेस देन ₹15 करोड़ फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ 30 days prior to the valuation date. Suppose it is later upon valuated and then the valuation of it increases or decreases, then at that point of time it will be, for 30 days minimum it has to be below 15 crore volume. Okay, be considered as thinly traded security based upon information provided by the stock exchange on the volume trading of the debt security. Then comes reflection of the realizable value. Valuation of securities shall be reflective to the realizable value of security. That means if you are valuing the security, it should be reflected in the realization of the security. Okay, that means it should be backed by the some assets, one or other way we could say. Good faith and true fair manner, that valuation shall be done in good faith and true fair manner. Of course, insider trading, fraudulent activities, malpractices, any kind of AMC employees, if they are doing something wrong, then it should not happen. Then last quoted costing price. Last quoted costing price means traded equity share are to be valued at the last quoted closing price on the selected stock exchange. So whatever may be the selected stock exchange you use, you should be using the last quoted closing price of the equity share. And at the same time you should remember one more thing, that is, in this part, like select whatever they wherever, suppose if wherever the equity share are not treated as the selected stock exchange and the last quoted closing price, it should not be treated as the selected stock exchange. The last quoted closing price of the another stock exchange may be used for valuation. Okay, last quoted closing price of the another stock exchange may be used for the valuation. That means comparison will be done. Okay, do remember that comparison will be done. Then comes price of earliest possible date. Price of earliest possible date. If equity shares are not traded in any stock exchange on a particular valuation day, the value at which it was traded on the selected stock exchange on the earliest previous day may be used, provided such date is not more than 30 days. तो अगर मान लीजिए कि किसी भी एक दिन में अगर आपकी इक्विटी शेयर्स को ट्रेड किया जा रहा है, इसको वैल्यू किया जा रहा है, और मान लीजिए किसी पर्टिकुलर समय में वो उसको ट्रेड किया ही नहीं गया और ट्रेड नहीं किया गया, तो उसकी वैल्यू नहीं की जा सकती, क्योंकि जब ट्रेड करते हैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रेड होता है तो उसकी वैल्यू तब बढ़ती है. एट द टाइम व्हेन यू ट्रेड इट अलॉट, देन द वैल्यू इंक्रीजेज. एंड सपोज इफ इट इज़ नॉट बीन ट्रेडेड, देन व्हाट विल यू डू? At that point of time you will be doing that you will be choosing some particular date. जैसे मान लीजिए कल नहीं हुई, उससे पहले हुई या फिर उससे पहले, between 30 days, whenever it has been traded, you will use that particular date. Okay, and it should not be more than 30 days. It should not be more than 30 days. If equity shares are not traded in any stock exchange on a particular valuation day, the value at which it was traded on the selected stock exchange, the earliest price previous day may be used, provided such date is not more than 30 days prior to the valuation day. Then comes valuation committee. The valuation committee will decide to select the appropriate stock exchange. Do remember, valuation committee will be evaluating the shares. Reason for changes in the stock exchange. Once a stock exchange has been selected for valuation, reason for change of the exchange, if any, shall be recorded. If you are changing the stock exchange to trade your security, suppose you were using BSE, then you came to NSE, then at that point of time you will have to quote the reason. Then certain norms where the equity and equity related securities are not traded on NSE or BSE for the period of 30 days prior to the valuation date, or it is thinly traded security as per SEBI guidelines, then it should be valued as per this one, like based on latest balance sheet. Net worth shall be computed under share capital plus reserve excluding revaluation reserves, miscellaneous expenses, and debit balance of the PL account divided by number of paid up shares. So this is what the formula is: capital shares, reserve excluding revaluation reserve, and then miscellaneous whatever expenses, and debit balance of the PL account, and then dividend by the divided by the number of paid up share. These are some more formulas which you can remember, but I think it is not that important to remember each and every formula to compute. Okay, computing the net worth value per share. So these are not that important. If you remember that, you could say that the prescribed manner. So certain norms are there. Suppose if it is a thinly traded security, or it has not been traded in the NSE and BSE, then at that point of time what you could do, that you could go for any of the method prescribed by the SEBI, and these are as follows: like P ratio can be used. P ratio of the industry based upon either BSE or NSE data shall be taken and discounted by 75%, that is only 25% of the industry average. P shall be taken as P ratio. Okay, so these are all things not that important. Then comes market value of the traded open contract. Okay, so market value of the traded open contract, if I talk about, so market value of the traded open contract shall be determined with respect to exchange on which contract originally which it was contracted originally. Okay, so do remember this, that market value of traded open contracts will be traded open contract shall be determined with respect to exchange on which contracted originally. So whatever exchange, in stock exchange, whatever exchange it has been contracted, it will be taken. Okay, so market value of traded open contracts, market value of traded open contracts shall be determined with respect to exchange on which contracted originally. Okay, then comes next point, that is valuation of traded future contracts. If there is any future contract, then market values of traded future contracts shall be determined with respect of stock exchange on which contracted originally. Whatever may be, if there is any kind of contract, whenever in whatever exchange it has been contracted, it will be determined at the same contract originally. Then suspension of trading. If trading in equity securities is suspended for trading on a stock exchange up to 30 days, if it is suspended, do remember, suspended, if security trading is suspended, maybe because of circuit breaker, or that was show due to show cause notice has been proposed, or any stop loss services, stop loss provision of the SEBI as we studied earlier, then the last traded price would be considered for valuation of that security. That means here the 30-day limit will not apply. Now partly paid up equity shares. If partly paid up equity shares are traded in market separately, then the same shall be valued at traded price. Okay, if this paid up equity shares, whatever may be, partly paid up equity shares are there in market separately, then same shall be valued at traded price. Whatever may be the traded price, it will be done on the same price. Okay, now let's revise each and every point. That is Okay, that is thinly traded security. Thinly traded security, I told you the limit. That is in volume, it should be less than 5 lakh. It should be less than 5 lakh, and the volume of the share should be 50,000 maximum. Okay, that means if you have suppose 3 lakh that value, and you have 1 lakh or 2 lakh in the volume, then it will not be called thinly traded security. Thinly traded security, thinly traded debt security, it was thinly traded equity security, then thinly traded debt security, reflection of realizable value, good faith and true and fair manner, good faith and true and fair manner, last quoted closing price, price of earliest possible date, valuation committee, price of earliest possible date, then valuation committee, reasons for changes of stock exchange. Okay, reasons for changes of stock exchange, certain norms also have to be there. Valuation committee, I told you, prices of earliest possible date where it was not traded, then certain norms are there. These are some formulas through which you could value your security. Okay, if NSE and BSE it has not been traded in, then market value of traded open contract, that means original contracted, when it was original contracted at that time it will be, then valuation of a traded future contract, and suspension of trading, partly paid up equity share also. Okay, so I hope it was clear. Thank you for watching.